Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about editing terms. So, when you are editing video, you are using different resources to cut together different videos and put them into a finished product. So, whether you are working in an editing software or you are working with someone who is an editor, these terms are going to help you so that you can communicate what needs to be done. So, the first one that we're going to be talking about is a clip. So, a clip sounds a little self-explanatory. It is a video clip. So it is the actual video content that is going to be put together is. So it's the individual video clips that are put together into a full edited video. The next term that I want to talk about is a cut. So if you think about a piece of paper, and if that piece of paper is your video clip, you want to cut to split the clip up into multiple pieces. You can take all of those different cuts and put them together to create that final product. The cut can either be a straight cut where it goes right from one clip to the next clip, or you have the option for what my next term is, which is a fade. So what a fade is if you take those two clips and you want to fade some of the frames together so that it kind of, as it sounds, fades into the next clip. The next term is timeline. So what a timeline is the actual space in which your video is being edited. The timeline is where all of those video clips and all of those cuts and fades and whatever other things like music or images are put into where you are working, and that is the space that you are working. That is the timeline. Think about it as you're working on this chronological project, and that timeline is the way that it's going to show up. On that timeline, you might have something called B-roll. What B-roll is anything that's not the main information in your video. For instance, if you're doing an interview and putting B-roll over the interview, that interview is going to be laid out, and then B-roll is going to be the clips that are supporting what is said in that interview. So if you're interviewing me about being a videographer, you would see me talking to the camera, but then you might see some shots of me somewhere else taking video of a subject, or you might see some shots of, New York City or something like that are there to support the main information for your video. The next thing I want to talk about is graphics. So graphics can be a lot of different things. It can be something like this, where it says something at the bottom of the page, like a lower third, which typically has information or a name. Or it could be an image or some sort of, text that moves around on your screen. So graphics is any kind of graphic image or graphic text that are added to your video. The next term is transition. So just like the cut and just like the fade, a transition is going from one clip to the next clip. And that could be anything from dipping down to black, flashing to white, something a little more fancy like a wipe, which is wiping the screen, basically. All of these are called transitions. So if you want something to have a transition on it, that is the correct terminology to ask to have some sort of animation between one clip and the other. When I say animation, I'm not talking about like Pixar. I'm talking about just having something other than a fade. The next term is frame rate. So frame rate is the way that the video was recorded and the way that the video is being edited. So in your camera, you can record at different frame rates, whether that's 24, 30, 60, or higher, depending on your camera. You want to make sure that when you are working in your timeline, you have the correct frame rate. I'm not going to go into the specifics, but if you have two different frame rates, it's going to look a little off or it'll have frames that skip and such. So you want to make sure that those match. So if you shot in 30, you want to make sure that your sequence is also in 30. The next one that I want to talk about is color correction. So if you notice in most videos, all of the colors within that video, all of the different clips, typically match. So if you have a clip that is a little more blue than the rest of them, or have a clip that, you know, because of the lights in your house or your establishment, you get a little bit of a green tone. Color correction is where the editor can go in and fix the colors and make it look more like the true colors. So you can either use it as a correction, or you can use it to do a color grade, which is providing a overall look for the video. So if you want it to look, you know, dark and shadowy or grainy or bright and colorful, that would be a color grade. The next term is royalty-free music. And I know that we're getting a little bit long on time, but these are, you know, important tips. So royalty-free music is music that is legal to use. When music is created, especially if it's someone like a big name, like if you want like, for instance, Ariana Grande, Michael Jackson, Bruno Mars, a song like that in your video, there is a copyright on that music. And if you put that music into your video without getting either the licensing or permission, you are infringing on their copyright, which is illegal. So you need to get royalty-free music, which is music that is created for different kinds of creators, whether it is free or within music software like Envato Elements, or audio blocks, or whatever else that you're using. I know YouTube has their own library. You need to make sure that you use this kind of music and have the licensing and the permission. So if for some reason a copyright claim comes, you are able to say, hey, I have permission to use this music, and you won't have to deal with any you know, potential legal matters. The next one is end card. What an end card is when you get to the end of a video and it has all of the information for either the business or the YouTube channel or whatever else you may need at the end. Typically, this has, for a business, the name of the business, the phone number, the address, the website, so that you have all of the information to contact that said business at the end of the video. For YouTube, a lot of the time, it has all of the creators' social media. It has links to other videos, and, you know, basically the end card has all of the information that you could possibly need at the end of said video. The last one is MP4 and MOV. These are two kinds of video codecs, basically, that you can export in at the end. So MP4 is a smaller file, and it basically takes the video that you've created and makes sure that it is in a small format that is easy to upload places. MOV is it's a little different because it is a higher quality, you know, export. So you might be getting a MP4 that is a couple hundred, you know, megabytes. I think it's megabytes. Megabytes? We're going to go with megabytes. Whereas an MOV might be like 35 gigabytes. So the size is a big difference, and it really depends on what you need the video for as to which one you use. Most of what I make is in MP4 because most of what I make is going on the internet. But if you're trying to make a short film or something, you might want to go with the MOV file, which allows you to have a lot more color space and things along those lines. So those are some of the examples of the editing terms that I would recommend that you incorporate into whatever project that you are using, whether that is you editing or you communicating with your editor to make sure that they have all of the information they need so that you can get your video done on the first try. Anyway, that's all I got for you today. If you have any other questions about what these terms are or have any other terms that you'd like me to go over, feel free to leave them in the comments. I would love if you guys could subscribe to the channel or follow my Instagram, because I am doing my best to get these videos out for you guys as frequently as I can. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you on the next one.